We're back with another Buff Dudes dumbbell only workout. Today we're gonna be doing back and biceps. I love this one. Two muscle groups that go very well together. Their function is very similar. They help each other out in a lot of movements. So let's do this. Yeah. First exercise is going to be the bent over low row. Now, the bent over rows are typically one of the better ones for that overall back mass. And the low row is really just gonna be targeting a slightly different angle, but you're still really concentrating on the lats. What we're gonna be doing is bending over. You don't have to get in a perfect 90-degree angle from the upper to lower body. Just bend over enough where you can kind of keep that flat back and where the dumbbells are gonna be hanging right towards the floor there. And with the low row, you wanna kind of close up your stance a little bit because the dumbbells are gonna be gliding alongside your body. A standard kind of bent over row is gonna be here, kind of gliding along the quads area. With the low row, you're actually gonna be kind of pulling in an arching motion just about the hip section here. So your elbows are kind of gonna be gliding back as well as your hands. You're really gonna feel that squeeze and kind of that lower back section. That's really where you should feel it. I love these. It's always good to do a slightly different angle, different movement. I mean, you're really sticking in with kind of a classic like a bent over row, but all of a sudden you're kind of changing the movement just a little bit where you can feel it in a different area. And that's why we're doing it. Oh, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you kind of look like one of those skiers, those slalom skiers. That's when you know you're doing it right. But as you can tell, a lot of times we'll really preach getting those elbows as high as you can. It's gonna pull the scapula together, get a little bit more engagement in the lats. But this one, it's gonna be harder to get those really high elbows. Really focus a little bit more on kind of that shoulder extension with a slight flexion in the elbow. So kind of extending back, slight flexing the elbow. But once you kind of get those arms all the way back, that's when you kind of really feel like everything kind of tightening up right there. And that's what you want. But make sure you keep that core tight. You don't want to bend that lower back because of course that's when you're in trouble and you could possibly injure yourself. So nice, rigid, tight core during that full 12 repetitions and you're good to go.
Now I can't get the skier visual out of my head.
Welcome to the first annual Buff Dude Olympics, brother. We're gonna be doing slalom skiing with dumbbells. Just got done with the low row and now we're gonna be moving on to a high row, but in this case, instead of getting in the bent over position without any assistance for that position, we're gonna be using a bench on this one in an incline position. So you still get over that bent over position, but of course now you have something to lean against. It's gonna isolate the movement a little bit more, so that way you won't get any help from your legs, any push from your legs there. So it makes it a little bit harder that way. But of course we went from the low row, now we're going to the high row. So we're working a little bit of different muscles. Now we're focusing a little bit more on the upper back areas. It could be like traps, teres major, rhomboids, rear delts, a little bit in the lats still, but you know, it is increasing the angle of your elbow to your body there quite a bit. And it's gonna make it a little bit harder too, because now the lats aren't helping out as much. So here we go. We got the bench here. Ooh. And get those elbows nice and high. And as you start burning out, your range of motion might start lacking a little bit, get a little bit shorter. You can use a little bit of rest pause, kind of stop at that downward position, get a breather, and then really power that up to the top position, because you really try to get that full range of motion on every rep, but partial reps aren't necessarily bad, but you just want to make sure you're getting the full benefit of the exercise. But oh yeah, feeling it.
I'm 6'1" in height and my goal is to get 6'1" in width. So I look like a giant square.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob buff pants. So I look like a pixel in the Minecraft game.
So we did low rows, we did high rows. Now it's time to pair them together in a single arm unilateral motion because we're going from low to high row. So it's combination movement here, but again, we're gonna be isolating one side from the other and we're gonna be doing it in a bent over position. We're just using a bench here, but you can honestly just bend over and support yourself on your leg. Doesn't really matter. But here we go. Ooh man, those feel good. I like those. And you can see, getting into the position, I really like pushing my leg out to the side here. This really gives you a good base of support. You'll see a lot of people kind of kick their leg here. The only problem is it throws you off balance. Not necessarily like it's a bad thing, but you're just gonna feel kind of off balance and it can pull your spine in kind of a compromised position because this hip can dip and it'll twist your spine, especially your lumbar spine, which is supposed to be very stable. So kind of kick your leg out, hips are in line, lower back is very stable. You feel like you pull a lot more weight in a very structurally supported position, which is always the best thing when you're pulling and pushing a lot of weight. We got pullovers, definitely one of our all-time favorites. You know, we did a lot of videos of this exercise in the past. We even included it in our old school kind of exercise because it is very old school. We see a lot of the golden era bodybuilders do this exercise for good reason. It is an excellent upper body exercise, and in this case, we're really trying to feel it in the lats as much as we can. We're using flexion and extension of the shoulder joint, but you will feel a little bit in your triceps for the stabilization of the position of your arms, but also a little bit in your delts, in your chest, a little bit in your core. So as you can tell, it pretty much almost hits everything in the upper body, and that's why we love it. Deep breath on the way back. Expand that rib cage full of air, and then exhale at that top position. You know, Arnold famously said that this increases the size of your thorax, which, you know, I think probably goes to show you that he was the ultimate bro science dude. But hey, it feels that way. And sometimes if it feels like it's doing something, well, then you can just do it that much better. It kind of pumps you up more. So, yeah. It's a little scary, gotta be honest, when your hands are a little sweaty and you're dealing with those like kind of like sloped dumbbells and you kind of start feeling that some slippage. So if that's happening, be very careful because you want to slip out, hit yourself in the head, and don't be dead, dude. We are what kind of feels like finally wrapping up with the back exercises. I say that because ending it with pullovers, you are definitely gonna feel shot. It was an excellent upper body exercise and a great cap to the back exercises. So now we're moving on to biceps with the hammer curls. This is gonna be an isolation exercise. So you're really gonna be feeling this in your biceps, in your forearms, and it's just one of those exercises that feels damn good. If you've got a mirror, this is definitely one where you're shirtless, you're looking at yourself, you're feeling that pump, and you're feeling motivated and pretty damn proud of yourself. Yeah, there we go. Always throwing a few extra reps on the less dominant side, that being my right side since I'm left-handed. It's a slow journey. If you have a little bit of muscle imbalances, I think everybody does a little bit. The arms probably being one of the most noticeable ones. You know, it's gonna take a while, it's not overnight, but you continue to do things such as throw a few extra reps on your less dominant side. As months go by, years, you build that symmetrical physique, and that is pretty damn cool. With the adjusted grip, instead of a supinated grip where it's gonna put a little bit more tension and isolate the biceps brachii more, you adjust the grip, all of a sudden it's gonna work a bit more the brachialis, brachioradialis. Brachialis a little bit more kind of underneath the arm here. You kind of see it a little bit laterally, a little bit more medially, and then also the brachioradialis, which is going to help basically rotate your wrist there, supinate and pronate. So that's why when you kind of adjust your grip, all of a sudden you get a little bit more tension on the brachioradialis and also the brachialis as well. So it's really just trying to get all the muscles involved in the arm, baby. That's why we love hammer curls. They're just damn good. All right, last exercise for the biceps. We're gonna be doing some circular curls. Now, this is probably an exercise not a lot of people do or know about, but it is good nonetheless. And what you're essentially doing is curling the weight up, externally rotating out nice and wide, and then lowering down in the bottom position. So you're gonna be flexing in the elbows, externally rotating the shoulders, and then extending the elbows just like so. And the external rotation is gonna create a little bit more stretch in the long head of the bicep because it is going to, of course, span the glenohumeral joint, which is essentially the shoulder joint there. So as you externally rotate, you're gonna feel a little bit more of a stretch in there and then bring it down. So just a little fancy way of trying to get a little bit more activation out of the biceps. Ooh. Oh, man, they're tough. Damn. Ooh. Ooh. I don't even know how many reps that was. I was talking while I was performing the repetitions, but I basically just did it until it burned like crazy. And sometimes that's the most important thing, you know? It's not essentially all about the amount of repetitions, it's how the repetitions feel. And if they're feeling like they're burning pretty damn good, then you know you're doing something right. As long as it's burning the right areas, you know. If it's burning the crotch, then, well, we can't help it, I'm sorry.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Last exercise, you can't forget the core, and we're gonna be doing some twisting planks. Now planks, it's a very good core activation. It's gonna activate your abdominal muscles, gonna activate your lower backs, your hips, a little bit in your lats. So the plank is great, but we're gonna add a little twist to it, no pun intended. So we're gonna be doing some twisting in there, meaning we're gonna be rotating our trunk, twisting our trunk from side to side, basically kind of dipping one side of our hip down, touching the ground, twisting back to the other side, and alternating between the two. And we're gonna be going pretty high repetitions in this. We're gonna go with 50 full repetitions. So you not only get the isometric hold with the plank, we also get a little eccentric and concentric contraction there with the twist. So here we go. Oh yeah, oh that's good. Damn, you really feel it in your obliques. Kind of this section here, really kind of pulling in and back and forth. Feel damn good. Whew. I count at 1, 1, 2, 2, so I only feel like I'm doing 25, which you are only doing 25 on each side, but I feel like if you count all the way to 50, mentally it feels like you're doing more, so like 1, 2, 3. It's all about a mental game, baby. There we go. We are wrapped up with the back and biceps dumbbell only workout. Yeah, feel pumped.
Brandon's not gonna be able to squeeze through a door for at least the next 16 hours.
So I'm stuck in this gym. Wow. It's okay. I'll just work out while I'm in here.
That's the buff dude way. He's been stuck in the gym for the past 3 years.
Yeah, too big to get out. You just gotta, yeah.
Stay warm.